Wine, the delicious fermented juice of tasty grapes that bring us joy and happiness to our palates. I enjoy wine. It makes me happy, and it is one of my favorite things in the world. My name is Tammy Tam Tam. I'm a singer-songwriter and avid wine drinker. I don't consider myself an expert, just a big fan. In fact, I love wine so much I even co-wrote a song about it with my friend Optimistic. It's called Glass of Wine, and in July of 2017, it was featured on an episode of the popular TV series The Young and the Restless. One of the things I like most about wine is sharing it. So I thought, how about having my own show where I can invite my fellow artists and performer friends to a nice glass of wine as we talk about music, art, life, love, and everything in between. For my first episode, I've invited my good friend and longtime collaborator, Andy Kimberly. Andy is a professional guitar player and singer in Reno, Nevada, where I also live. Together we do a musical show called Tandemonium, and he also plays in the popular band Audiobox. Andy has played guitar since he was a child, and he is one of the best guitar players I have ever worked with. The Romans used to say, "There's truth in wine." So join me to find out what truths Andy tells us on this episode of Glass of Wine. Thank you so much for coming, my favorite guitar player in Reno.
Welcome,
I consider you the best guitar player in
thank
Reno. So tell us a little about yourself. Like, what made you decide to be a musician in the first place?
Okay, this is a very interesting answer. I wanted to be a wrestler like Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior. I wanted to be like those guys, but my mom had a guitar and she played guitar, and she left her guitar in the closet, and I didn't think much of it. I didn't like music. I just wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to put on, nipple tassels and shave my body and, wrestle grown men. And one summer, I discovered a Alice Cooper video called The Nightmare Returns from 1986, and his guitar player was like a big-ass, like, Rambo dude, he was like a big, strong dude that had a guitar that was a machine gun. And I saw that guy, and I was like, oh my God, that dude looks like wrestlers. He looks like one of my favorite wrestlers. So I was like, well, if I do what he does, I'll get big and muscular, because I didn't know about lifting weights. I didn't know about any of that stuff. So I figured if I did what this guy did, I'd get super buff and ripped, and then I could be a wrestler, one step closer to my goal of wrestling. So I went in my mom's closet and grabbed a guitar, and I just watched the guy on the TV, and I just be like, what's he doing, and I just kind of copy what he's doing and see if my arms are getting bigger.
That's awesome.
Eventually, I watched that tape so much that I knew every single Alice Cooper song.
Wow.
Like, memorized everything, because I watched that video every single day, like, during the summer. And so I just started knowing the songs and realizing that I can actually play the guitar. And I had a really cool way of actually taking guitar lessons because I was dirt poor and we had nothing. But here's what we did have that was great, was my mom and my stepdad were super potheads, and my friend Mark was taking guitar lessons from this guy Jeff Montgomery over at Bizarre Guitar. And he's like, I don't want to take lessons anymore. And I was like, well, I got an idea. How about I'll give you access to all my mom's weed? And
so it was kind of like the barter system.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? Go to him, ask him questions, ask him like what a major scale is,
right?
A certain song that I liked, or a riff that I liked, and and then bring me back what he tells you, and then I'll let you come over to my mom's house and smoke weed with him all the time, and and it worked. And he took lessons for like 2 years still.
Wow.
And I learned so much stuff from this guy that didn't even realize he taught me how to play guitar.
So you were like a sponge. You were just taking it all in like a 5-year-old,
Yep. And I always find ways to...
So basically you're saying music saved you.
Music definitely saved me, yes. I went through a lot of stuff that definitely, in our family runs lots of overdosing and a lot of suicide and a lot of things where, right on.
Oh, how are you? We have the lovely Amaya. Our
came in at suicide.
Is here at the Midtown Wine Bar at 1527 South Virginia Street, Reno, Nevada. And the wine that I was explaining before, she's giving us a pour, and we're so appreciative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It is actually my favorite.
Nice. Barberas are really
well known, especially in the El Dorado, Placerville's area. Correct? They
they're
do
becoming
really well
very
there.
popular up there.
They
too.
really
That's
are
really nice.
too, and they're consistently good. I've noticed, and it's good to kind of go outside the box because
Yeah.
I guess I'm a wino.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
So I like to say thank you, Amaya. Cheers, love bug.
The wine I picked for this episode is a 2015 Lava Cat Barbera from Placerville, California. According to the Learning Center at Wine Cooler Direct, Barbera is a wine from northwest Italy. Its grapes are juicy and fairly acidic. It features a dark purple color and a nice fruity aroma. This kind of wine pairs well with a nice pizza or any pasta dish with tomato sauce. It can also be paired with a nice rosemary Asiago or a dill Havarti cheese. Basically, any cheese with aromatic herbs in it. The Lava Cap Winery in Placerville describes this wine as luscious, with deep, rich fruit erupting with flavor, which is a perfect match for my guest, Andy. And since Andy doesn't drink, I get to drink his wine as well.
Yeah. So I know you don't drink wine, so that means I get to drink yours
Okay.
when we're done.
Sure,
so
you don't
I'm
mind.
happy about that. But let me know what you think about the smell. And,
Okay.
like, does that smell like you a little bit?
It smells sweet. It smells emotional. It smells flamboyant. Yeah, that smells like a very sexy.
Yeah, it is a very sexy.
Very sexy, nice, very romantic, very
But manly like Barbera.
yeah, very manly. When it comes down to needing to be manly, it smells pretty manly.
Although you have the softest hands in
I do.
Reno
yes.
for a man.
Softest man,
Just
hands
saying.
in the business. Oh, that's nice. If I drank, I would drink this actually.
So I know you have daughters, so obviously you've had sex, correct?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, that's correct. All right.
They weren't adopted,
No,
right?
definitely they're my seed.
So all of a sudden it got quiet when I was talking about sex over there. I don't even know you. I'm kidding.
They
I'm
probably
kidding.
know me.
No, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Do you like to be on top, or do you just like to lay there?
Oh no, I get creative.
Get creative.
Yeah,
in what way, if you don't mind me
I
asking?
I throw a woman in all sorts of different areas, man. On the wall,
Wow.
on a random sink, just in the middle of, on a dinner break or something in the bathroom. But I take charge, man, and I don't just lay there for sure.
Nice. So you're not a dead lay, as they say.
Not a dead lay, man. I provide lots of entertainment.
That's my boy.
I try. You got to make it an experience. You don't
Right.
want her to leave and tell her girlfriends that it was.
Right.
Oh my God, that was terrible. I want to not walk straight and be like, oh my
Right.
God, that dude was legit. You got to get on that
Too
ride.
legit to quit. Keep going on.
Although I tell
Yeah.
myself that it's probably not that good, but I think it is.
Well, I think the girls adore you, and
I'm good for now. Right now, though, currently I'm just not to ruin my sex stories, but I had my fair share. But now I'm putting it on hold, man. Like the women in my life are my daughters,
That's
and
awesome.
there's that's just what I'm focusing on.
Nice.
And even like sex with somebody or random sex that usually isn't on the table. It's weird now. You're like, think of your daughters first. But it doesn't mean I can't have fun sometimes, so.
exactly, life's what you make it, and sex is a powerful
I might
thing.
come
and
to
it's
a
good
wine
thing.
bar near you
Yeah,
and stalk
there
the
you go.
crowd. You never
Scared
know.
of you, boy. So if you're, you're playing it at a club or whatever, and there's this hot lady like 80 and over, would you have sex with her?
No question.
She was hot.
Of course, yeah.
So it's more than just the.
I would make her pull a photo out of her younger years, and I would stick it next to her face, and while I, covered it, and I would just be like, "Man, Gertrude, oh man, you looking
Hey,
good,
that's my
girl."
grama's name, Gertrude.
Ooh, I like it. Well, I'm gonna go find her.
Dirty Gertie.
I want to go find. Oh, we know Dirty Gertie very well. Yes, yeah.
So. Let me take a swig, Andy, because this wine is amazing. Again, it's the Barbera, which captures you.
Captures me.
It's called the Lava Cap.
Lava Cat?
Lava Cap.
I want something called Lava Cat.
Well, maybe when we get rich, we can open our own winery and
We can make a separate band called the Lava Cats.
Lava Cats. I like that. How did you land your first gig, Andy?
Okay, so this is a very interesting story. So I'm super shy. I don't hang out with people. I don't go out on the weekends.
People would think you'd be extroverted, but you're introverted.
Yeah,
and I totally get it. I totally
get
get
super in nerves. So, I got to my first band real quick.
it. How old were you?
I was 14. This is
So a kid.
I'm sitting there in class, and I don't know anybody. I don't talk to anybody. People make fun of me, because I didn't talk to anyone. I hear this guy behind me every day talking about how good he was at guitar. He's like saying all the stuff he can play, and I could do this and I could do that. Oh man, blah blah. And I finally snap. I turn around. I'm like, "You're full of shit." And I'm like, dude.
Don't candy coat it.
I was like, I bet.
Just ask Andy.
Just ask Andy. I said, I bet I can write a song. I can write it out like in tablature form, which is another way to read guitar music.
Okay.
I bet I can write out a song, and you can't play it. And if you can, I'll give you $5, which I didn't have. By the way, but if you can't play it, you got to bring me $20.
Ah.
And anyway, the $20 would have fed me for a super long time.
Wow.
So, and I'm like, I wrote it. He came back. He's like, you can't play this song. And I'm like, yeah, I can. He's like, come to my house and play it for me, and I'll give you that $20. And I'm like, okay. And these guys were a bunch of pothead stoner guys,
They weren't molesters, right?
No, but I was scared when I got when I got on the bus. Though I was realizing these guys are gonna jump me. Like they're just gonna take me to some bushes and beat the out of me.
Oh,
so
dear.
There's like 5 dudes, and we get off the bus and they're surrounding me.
Yeah, that could be a little overwhelming for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, so these guys are all around me, man, surrounding me, and we're walking, and I'm like, these guys are gonna like murder me. How stupid are you, Andy? Or, we don't have any cell phones.
You're still here. It's
I'm
okay,
still
just
here.
breathe.
So we go to his house, and he's like, first let me show you Master of Puppets, and he grabs the guitar and he starts playing it like really bad, and his friends are looking at him like, yeah, get him, Joey, and they're looking at me like, yeah, look, check him out. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, dude, it's like 2 minutes and you're not even past the intro. I'm like, do you want me to show you how that song goes?
You're like kind of bored already.
So
like
I take the guitar, I'm like, dun,
Like
dun, 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 and they're like sitting there with their mouths wide open. They're like,
wow.
And they go, are you in a band? And I was like, no, I'm not in a band. I was like, I don't even know 2 people at this
Kind
school.
of like The Devil Went Down to Georgia,
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was.
vibe.
So that's my that was my first band, where a bunch of stoners in a garage, and my mom would smoke them all out, and that's how I got the guitar lessons. Yeah, that's how we got the guitar lessons from the guy. He was in our band. His name was Mark, and then he wanted to quit
There's
music.
some wines that are smoky too, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, they'd come over, they'd kind of get high with my mom, then we go in the garage and we just make up tunes.
That's awesome.
And they'd be getting high, but I'm like, I never smoked weed or anything, so
Right.
obviously they're like, guys, we
Kinda
got to get
straight-laced.
in that garage and practice. So my main gig that I have now, same thing. I'm super shy.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out with a band at Chico. We try to make it, try to start branching out.
It's a great music scene.
My
I've
girlfriend at the
performed
time left me, and it made me so sad that I had to come back home. And I wanted to be around family. So I moved back with my mom, and I'm like, you know what though? I worked every job, man. I delivered pizzas till my car blew up. I worked in warehouses. I was on call for the temp agencies doing shit with fiberglass, and worked at the movie theater. Worked at Del Taco.
Stuff that was not you. That drained you even more, and you weren't happy.
Yeah. So I was like, dude, what can I do, man?
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, I have
That you love.
I have that talent of playing music.
That's success
So-
right there. Doing what you love.
Why not give guitar lessons, dude? And I'm 21 at the time. No, I'm 20. I'm not 21 yet.
Okay.
And I go, dude, so I go down to the music store and I start working there, but then I start working my way into guitar lessons, and I say, can I teach guitar here? They're like, do you have any certificates? I'm like, and I always bull my way out of things, and I'm just like, oh man, oh dude, I got education. And they're like, okay, well,
Streetwise.
Yeah. So I started teaching, and I had 30 students, and I was able to quit working at the music store, and I was able just to teach.
That's a lot of students, actually.
And it was pretty cool, and I was doing pretty good. And then there was another guitar player that was next door to me, and he goes, hey, I always hear you in there playing like 80s guitar solos and all this stuff. And he's like, I'm putting together this band, and we're making like $1,500 a week.
And you're probably like in awe of that.
$1,500.
That's a lot, really.
So I thought it was
for
being
doing what you love.
Yeah, and I thought it was being split like $300 each. I'm like, well, $400 each. He's like, no, each. And I was like, so anyway, I ate stuff. I'm like, $1,500 a week.
That's
you
huge.
kidding me?
That's huge.
I'm like, oh my god. So, and I'm still living with my mom. Like I could move out of my mom's house, and so he goes, we're gonna audition guitar players. Come tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, great. And so I get a phone call from the dude that's our singer, and his name's Mario, man, and he's still singing for us now. And I get a call from...
so Mario is in the picture. Yeah, I know Mario.
It was Mario, Bo, and Eric, and that was it. They needed one more guitar player. They still don't have one more. They haven't even had one show yet.
So that's how that all evolved. That's an interesting story. I didn't know that.
They got Brew Brothers. They got stuff lined up with no agency. We're the only band that had no agency.
Which is huge.
Mario kind of smooth talked his way into Brew Brothers, and we had a lot of other gigs that were all lined up, and they just needed one more guy to kind of like be a complementary guitar player, and maybe play some solos here and there. So I get a phone call from Mario, and he's like, and I remember I'm like super nervous, super shy, but I'm like, the whole time I'm like, Andy, act confident, dude. Like you can't this up. And so I got a phone call. Mario's like, hey man, so you're gonna come audition for us? Eric gave me your phone number, and I was like,
wow.
I was like, yeah, dude. He's
That's
like,
so cool.
He's like, so I just want to, let you know, songs that we do, see if you know them. He's like, do you know, Wanted Dead or Alive? And I'm like, oh, of course I do. I'm writing it down.
It's all inculcated in your brain because that's how you roll.
He's like, do you know, Rock Lake Hurricane? Yeah. Horse and Sugar? I mean, like, of course I do. I'm writing them all down. He's like, you know all these songs?
Wow.
I'm like, yeah.
No wonder you got the job.
Well, no, I didn't know them. And so I hung up, and I'm like, I had to learn like 9 songs in
so you're probably a little nervous at that point.
So I learned them.
You were like
yeah, there's a lot.
Was huge at the time, and now it got a little small because now
Definitely.
you have to
and I'm
really
used to that.
make this work.
So I learned these songs, man. I got them, I learned them, and I showed up to practice, and I was hoping he wasn't gonna, and he did. He named a couple more. I'm like,
oh dear.
I'm gonna have to learn 7, and but he thinks I know them, so he's like, oh cool. He's like, so hey, can you do me a favor to learn these 2 also? I'm like, he thought I knew the other ones, so I learned them all, and I show up, and all these guys are like, you're kidding me, Eric. This guy's like 19 years old, and Eric's like, dude, no, he's good. Trust me, he's good.
Yeah.
And so we do some stuff, and they're looking at me like, wow, this guy's really good. And I thought in my head, oh my god, I'm f***ing this up. Then they asked that question, can you sing? And I was like, oh my god, the worst question on the planet. It's like just having you take all your clothes off and stand in front of the school kids, and it's like, I was like, oh my god, and I'm like, yeah, I sing all sorts of stuff, man. Oh my god, yeah, name it. And they're like, well, what can you sing? And I just happened to know Kryptonite from some weird talent show thing I did, and by 3 Doors Down, and I go, oh man, well, I know Kryptonite, man, 3 Doors Down. God, there's so many of them, and I'm stalling, just hoping they get like, that's fine, do that. And I'm like, oh my god, there's tons. Well, I also know how to, and they go, yeah, we could do 3 Doors Down. I'm like, oh, it's the only one I had in my Rolodex. So, yeah, anyway, I sing Kryptonite, and I start singing, and everyone's looking at me, and I'm like, they're gonna laugh me out of this garage, man. And I finished the song, and I just felt like they were just humoring me. They're like, all right, next song. And I'm like, I was like about to cry.
Oh.
And then, they started having me come to gigs, like, and anyway, I just started playing gigs with them, and I assumed I had the role because.
Well, you've been with them how long again?
12 years.
12 years.
And they kept saying, well, here's our next gig. Here's our next gig. Here's our next gig. I'm like, they haven't really hired me yet, but so I think I'm still on trial. Like, okay, we're gonna play this place called Brew Brothers, and I was like, oh god, because I used to walk past that place all the time, just totally packed, and I was scared shitless. I'd walk by there in my and I would actually cry walking by that line when I was younger. And so knowing I had to go there was the worst thing on the planet, and it still is. And I'll go, when I back then was really bad though, and I'm just kind of gotten used to it after all these years, but I walked into that Brew Brothers place, all these people that like I made fun of.
That's a huge gig. It's like
it's insane.
It's
Tons
one
of
of the best places to see live music.
But it scared the out of me.
A big impact for sure.
And I have it's all the people that I, in my mind that I saw in high school that were like, we're gonna get hammered, bro. And, like, they were all there yelling, making noise. So I walked in with my head down, man, and I'm like scared. And the security guard's like, hey, and I'm like, oh my god. And I was like, yes. And he's like, hey, where's your ID? And I was like, man, I play guitar, man. Like, I play in this band. Just leave me alone, please. And then so I'm like walking and I'm looking at the ground, like people's feet, and I'm like, excuse me. And I'm kind of walking by. And what the cool thing was, this was the neat thing. The girl that left me when I was in Chico, the girlfriend that left me for another dude.
Okay.
She was there. with that dude.
So you were
And
rocking out with your
she
out,
looked
and
like
she was like,
before
wow,
I even
you're
got
a
on,
god.
Before I even got on stage, she goes, Andy, like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I guess some of your entertainment tonight. And she looked like she saw a ghost, because she just left me like 6 months prior to that.
And you're like, haha,
And
you
it
had a
felt
good
so
thing.
good. So I get on stage, and she's still sitting there with her mouth open on the ground. And
I think her mouth was open for a different reason.
I know it was later. And so I come off, and I totally used her. I hope she's not gonna watch this video, but I made her buy me shit. I made her. I put like a.
You punished her.
I made her look in. I did. I made her do some horror. I made her look in the mirror and call herself a slut. And,
Oh, dear.
Don't air that. And so, it felt so good. And then she's like, and then I just stopped talking to her completely. And it was the best moment of my life.
Wow.
And she still came back and was like,
And that's how music has
has
saved you throughout the test of time, throughout your career, throughout your life.
Yeah. And so I never took her back, but she just was sitting there like. But I told her too. I'm like, if you leave me, man, I'm not gonna take you back. She's like, well, trust me, you're not coming back. And she went out.
Right, she came back crawling because she saw a god,
and
small G.
It's what it felt like. Yeah, it was like she looked at me the whole time. As soon as I walked in there on the stage, and I was like, now I realized I had power. And I was like, just don't abuse this power, Andy. And that didn't happen.
Right.
Now I'm a different person. I'm very romantic, and I'm very respectful to women, and I love
As
women.
You should, because
and
what
I have
comes around
daughters.
goes around.
And I want them. I treat girls like so. I had like a girl.
Now that you have children,
this is
girls,
and it ruins.
You probably treat women a different way.
And that's what sucks. So
kind of like a fine bottle of wine.
Kind of like a fine bottle of Lava Cat. So I had these two girls come to me recently, and they're like, me and my friend, I'm not going to say that, I don't want to say too many bad words, but she was, me and my friend just want to have you for one night. But basically, we want to F the F.
So you had like a menage a trois.
Yeah.
And there's a wine called menage a trois.
Oh, okay.
It's a blend, obviously.
I just poured on them like for the homies. But they were like, they both wanted to, have relations with me that night. And most guys would be like, oh, God, yeah. And like, they were cute chicks, man. But it's so weird now that you have kids. And I even said this. I'm like, what would your father think of you?
Yeah.
I'm like, what did you just say, Andy?
Yeah, slap your face, Andy, right now.
Like,
slap your ass, Candy.
I can't believe I said that to two girls that were willing to just have sex with me and leave. And so I'm like, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves, man. I'm like, you should have more self-respect for yourself, man. What would your father think of you? And I'm like, oh my God. And then they're like, they looked at me like I was you, and they took off. And it made me feel good though. I'm like, maybe they'll have more respect for themselves as a woman, and not just, I guess you could still have fun and do your thing, but I was like, man.
If you're adults, I
guess it's fine, but
if that's what you like.
I say that kind of thing now, and if a girl wants
you're
to.
You're varietal, as I would say.
10 years ago me is way different than today me.
Yes, it really does. Kind of like good aged wine.
Good aged Lava Cat. Yes.
And the way you store it, the way you take care of it, especially for a red wine, means it's gonna be even more wonderful when you open it up. So.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, I'll take your word. You're an expert.
Yes. Well, I'm not an expert. I just enjoy wine and music, and we have something in common: our music.
Yes.
And I think you've been brilliant, and I adore you so much, and I'm honored to work with you again, Andrew Kimberly on Facebook, and I think we're going to put a cap on this lava and call it a night. And again, namaste in honor of you and our good wine tonight. Midtown Wine Bar rocks.
Love you, Tam. And big shout out to me. Be looking out for my content, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna start getting stuff up on Facebook. I'm gonna put up guitar stuff. I'm gonna take the throne in this town. So I'm gonna start putting stuff up so y'all know who's the top dog, man. So I'm gonna put up guitar solos and licks of the week, and maybe instructional videos and just all sorts of stuff. Have people, ask me what solo they want me to learn, so you can see me butcher a solo, man, and just have fun and try to get my content out there so I can make a better life for me and my family, man. And maybe someone will catch me and I'll shoot to the top, and I'm taking a Tammy with me and the other people that, or vice versa. We all take care of each other here, man, and the people that deserve to make it will make it one day. And
yes, cheers.
Cheers.
All good things come to us. Good wine, good music, good friends, and thank you again for everything,
Tam.
Andy.
You're welcome.
To my glass.